to enjoy the wonderfully talented Jeremy McGuirk.
So please guys, tell me that you've heard of the serial pooper. Has anybody heard of the serial pooper? In New Jersey, yes. Some people have, some people haven't. So in New Jersey, beautiful New Jersey, home of the Devils, there's this guy running around and pooping every day at a high school football field, by the field or by the track. So they catch the guy, ended up being a pooperintendent. A superintendent, that's Freudian shit right there. A superintendent of a neighboring school district. And I wish I'd been at the meeting when they decided it was time to act. You know, they're taking action. And Principal Ding Dong is like, this shit is out of control. We gotta stop this shit. It's piling up. And we gotta get to the bottom. He's a little dramatic. Okay, I tell you what, since the police won't do a stakeout, we're gonna set up cameras. And we're gonna catch this guy. We'll set him up real discreetly. And we're gonna catch this crazy white guy. Then there's Jake. There's always a Jake. And Jake says, how do we know it's a guy? God damn it, Jake. Contribute to the conversation or keep your fucking mouth shut. Listen, it's happened 3 times, Jake, that we know of. 3 times at least. That makes it serial. Anytime the first word is serial, it almost never matters what the second word is. Serial killer, serial arsonist, serial rapist, serial pooper. We're looking for a white guy, Jack. It's a white guy. They catch him, they put his picture on the news, and it pops up, and I'm gonna tell you something that has never ever happened to me. I've never seen a picture pop up, a mugshot, where they caught one of these serial whatevers, and you're like, I don't know, it doesn't look like, no, bullshit. Every time you're like, that's him, that's the motherfucker is guilty. Look at the eyes, it's in the eyes, that crazy white motherfucker. And this guy was a runner, he ran marathons. And this track was on his morning route. It was actually 3-4 miles away from his house. He's taking a jog and pooping about 4 miles away from his house. And they never found any toilet paper. So that means that either he's pooping and running 3.5 miles back to his house, or he's like, you know what, I'll poop here to make a statement, but I'm not gonna litter because that shit is rude. I just came back from California. I was there about 13 years, some good, some bad. I'm glad to be back home, been here about 1.5 years, but I developed a lot of questionable habits, a lot of bad habits in California, like I'm a little gay now, just a little bit. I talk kind of funny, you know. I take too many duck face selfies. I think that's just about everywhere though. I'm really liberal. I'm tolerant of everyone. It's gross. I try to treat everyone the same. That's not how I was raised. Sorry guys, I gotta get a cigarette here. They tried to pull me into Scientology, which was weird. Scientology's weird. At first it seemed really, vanilla. It wasn't threatening. It was all about self-improvement, and then you get into it, and you figure out, at a certain point, once you've given them about $30,000 or $40,000, they want you to sign a billion-year contract. And then they're really big on this guy named Xenu, who was the dictator of the Galactic Confederacy. And at that point, I was like, I'm fucking out of here. I'm not. They're deal breakers. Galactic, of course it was the Confederacy, a bunch of Peckerwoods. I don't know if you've seen Scientologists, but it's like white people and Will Smith. That's about it. That's all it is. But that was the deal breaker for me. Galactic Confederacy, billion-year contract. Religion is hard. Now I'm 40. I don't believe in a lot of stuff that I used to, so as a child, you just listen to it, you're raised in it, you buy in. You get to a certain point in your life, like I'm a man now, and everybody has a deal breaker. I looked into being Hindu, and by the time they got to Elephant God, I was like, deal breaker. Look into being Mormon, they get to golden tablets, and I was like, deal breaker. I'm sorry, conveniently buried in the backyard. I don't think. Jehovah's Witnesses, you get to a certain point and they're like, limited seating available. That's a deal breaker for me. I just believe that everybody Everybody should be able to get in, you know. Here's the conclusion I've come to, and I hope we can all agree on this, that Jesus was not white. Right? Jesus was not white. Jesus was born in the Middle East, raised there. They say he was a Judean. You know, he was a Jewish man or a black man. I like black Jesus. I prefer my black Jesus. Black Jesus just rolls off the tongue. And they keep finding these older and older artist depictions of Jesus, and they got one from 235. From 235 AD, a young picture of a young Jesus, and he's a very dark young man. Then I found the first known depiction of Jesus and his disciples, and they are dark. I mean, it looks like a bunch of guys planning a Juneteenth celebration. They got afros, there's pics, everybody has a swisher. I think it was black, I do. One of my favorite things, though, one of my favorite cases for black Jesus is when he walked on water. Well, of course he did. Black Jesus wasn't fit in a swim. Stereotypes for a reason, guys. I'm not saying he couldn't. He just didn't want to. He can swim. He can hit a curveball, too. But he didn't want to. He wanted to make a point, you know. White Jesus was out there swimming. White Jesus is like Poseidon mated with Michael Phelps, and it's just whoosh, whoosh. He's covering 100 yards with every stroke. He flies up into the boat and comes down. And what's up, dudes? Not black Jesus. Black Jesus conquering fear. You know, black Jesus making a statement. Sorry, I'm looking at my nose here. I'm really just trying to get to a little bit of this right here. You really think white Jesus would have made it all the way through the crucifixion without once saying, "Do you know who my Father is? I will have you fired." Like forever fired, forever. Forever fired. I like the Pope, though. I really like the Pope. I dig the Pope. He says a lot of neat things. He said not too long ago, he said, "Who are we to judge gay people?" Actually, he said, "Who am I? Who am I to judge gay people?" You're the Pope. They give you the hat and the bubble car and had the paper burning ceremony and everything. But there's another video going around of, you know, a little boy coming up to the Pope and having to whisper to him. He wonders if his dad is in heaven. Little boy's 9 years old. His dad was an atheist. He says to the Pope, "Do you think my dad was in heaven?" And the Pope says, "You know what? Your dad respected God. He had all his kids baptized. He had that kind of respect. You know, God's not going to separate you from your family, from your people like that." And I really appreciate, like as a humanist, he says a lot of shit that I like to hear. It almost makes me forget that the organization is a bunch of butt-fucking pedophiles that is shielding these criminals. I almost forget. Like, it's horrible. They shuffle these people around. Nobody ever gets in trouble. And so now, if I see the Pope on TV, or I hear him talking or something, I just go and stick my finger right in my butt. Just my thumb, just right up my butt like that. Because hashtag never forget. And hashtag me too. You know, it's just